Welcome back everybody to the channel. We're now going to look at a coin that was on a lot of people's radar actually in 2022, and it is Gala, and this thing has just been making lower lows and lower highs on a consistent base. The all-time high was at around 84 cents and we are currently trading at 1 cent, a bit more than 1 cent. Unbelievable. So we need approximately a, what is it, 40, 50, 60x or something to get back to the all-time high. Incredible. Now, full disclaimer, I am holding this in my sport portfolio, and I think we can still see a little bit of a move up, but I have to say, just if I'm looking at the chart, it is pretty much of a risky play. So if you like risky plays, man, this video is for you. Do me a favor guys, like, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Leave me a comment to share this video with your friends if you think this is useful. Without further ado, let's start diving in. We're going to look at Gala here on the daily, and I marked out a few significant highs and also connected to highs, and we have ourselves a volume profile in a golden pocket. So here we go. What have we seen so far? Actually, not all too much, and therefore it also signals, well, actually just not a whole lot of interest from the market to buy this coin. And the first thing that I noticed when I was looking at the chart is that on the daily we have not taken out any significant highs, so the market structure on the daily is still very much bearish, right? Because you're coming down, you're making this significant low, then a lower high, and then again this low right here, and again a lower high. So yeah, you would say we are going to test that low again or create eventually a lower low to then go for a bounce again. However, there is actually somewhat of a bottom forming right now that is here at 0.011 all the way up to 0.016. You can see that we had quite some taps already in the last couple months, and it looks like that this is forming somewhat of a significant bottom. So you could say, you know what, for the spot portfolio this actually is a great buying opportunity. However, I right away need to make a disclaimer, and that is that in all of those years in crypto, if there's one thing that I have seen occurring over and over again, is that every time you think, well, this is the bottom, it cannot go any lower, price still goes lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and eventually you're holding a decimal of what it once was worth. So would I long here? Well, you could say this is the accumulation zone, this is the bottom, I'm going to buy something here. Yes, that would make sense. Again, you're also accumulating against the trend because we have not broken anything yet. What would be the more safe or secure option if something like that even exists in crypto? And that is that you wait for this high to be taken out, that is at around 0.020, but better yet would be to wait for this high to be reclaimed. That is 0.023, and we also have the point of control there. So what you actually want to see is that eventually price goes higher, reclaims that, backtest, and then goes higher. This could be your entry right here. Stop loss goes, I don't know, 5% lower, 10% lower, the last lower higher low, whatever it then is. That will be the most safe option, because then you have reclaimed a very important resistance level. Then of course it needs to hold as support. If we do something like this, that in itself is bearish, but if we hold that level at around 0.023, that will be the more secure option. And then also you have changed market structure on the daily, because then you are eventually creating a higher high, and then of course you want to see that higher low, and then you really have a good trade on your hand, and you can again trade it to the upside. What could be possible targets? It is going to be a little bit hard. I am right away going to say I do not believe we're going to see 80 cents again. This bull run, this thing has just been too weak, and people are too much focused on other crypto coins. But I would just play it very safely. I would look at significant highs and previous big support and resistance. In these kinds of instances, in the way that the chart is now setting up, I like to connect the significant highs and lows with each other, and you would see more often than not that actually then forms also support and resistance in the future. So if we are now breaking higher, then I would definitely be looking at that trend line. Now of course, depending on if we're going to get there now or in a month from now, then that price of that trend line is a little bit higher or lower. but it would be at and around 0.045, so 0.045. That is then approximately the resistance. After that I would look at this high to be reclaimed, that is 0.066, and after that we have this high right here, that is 0.086 or 86. And the nice thing is with this high or this area right here is that it lines up with a golden pocket, and that golden pocket is then measured from this daily high right here, which also lines up with the daily low, and then of course pulled all the way to these lows right here, back to the golden pocket. Then, like I said, nicely lines up with that high, the trend line golden pocket. So I think that could be a major resistance. Other than that, the last high that I have for you before the all-time high is this one right here, 0.12, so 12 cents. Actually, I think I have one more high above. Yeah, sorry, I have one more high. Two more highs, even 29 cents, 39 cents, and then the all-time high. But like I said, not sure that we're getting it. I'm pretty sure that we won't get it. I started accumulating this coin at around the current price level, slightly higher. Where you see these bottoms, actually that for me was a nice area. Trying to long this small amount, so if it goes to zero, I'm totally fine with this. If it goes 4, 5, 6, 7 times over, yippee-ki-yay, then I've beaten pretty much any market out there. So that is kind of what I'm aiming for. But yeah, like I said, if you're getting in right now, it still is very tricky. So I would wait for the reclaim of the point of control and then trade it to the upside. Would I leverage trade this? Only if we're seeing that reclaim of that point of control. Other than that, again, you are trading against the trend, so please don't do it. The nice thing I have to say, and I pulled already multiple volume profiles over the entire chart, is that most of the volume is here at the bottom. So once you start reclaiming that, then you can also see very swift, quick moves to the upside. If I'm then looking at what has price done in the past, what is the behavior or the character of the coin, well, then you can see a certain pattern coming back over and over again. You can already see it here. It is this kind of coiling up to highs and then eventually go down again. So if I see something like this, and of course the best would be higher highs and higher lows, that would be absolute mega. But if we don't see that, so let's say I am seeing something like this in the future, eventually prices slowly go higher, 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 and we are reclaiming one or two of these highs, and then eventually we're coming down again. I'm selling, I'm going out. That will be still an amazing trade to take. We're talking here about hundreds of percents. This was 500%, but then I'm out because I think that this behavior and this character of this coiling up, this parabolic run to the upside will continue again, and then eventually I'm just gonna go out. The of course, most complicated thing with this is, where is the top? Is that here? Is that here? Or is that here? That's always a little bit hard. I will try to cross those bridges once we get there. But for now, that is the kind of pattern that I'm looking at. And if that will become again a lower high, so that we are respecting this trend line, or we are taking out these highs, we'll see. But for now, I think that's still a pretty good trade. With that being said, the last thing I want to show you is that even if you would take the trade here from the point of control, let's say back to this high, you're talking about 170%, back to this high is 250%. Would you accumulate it now and you're getting long somewhere here from this current box that we're in, you're talking about 450 to 500% depending on where you're getting in. So I think there's still massive moves and profit to be made on this coin, and we're not even aiming for a new all-time high. We're just aiming for previous significant highs, and I still think there is a major opportunity, and that's also the main reason why I'm sharing this coin with you today, because I feel like that once we start reclaiming some of the levels, once we are seeing the market structure flipping back to bullish on the daily, I think it's light green and we can see a parabolic quick run to the upside, just like we have seen in the past. If you agree with me or not, or there's certain altcoins that you want to see, please let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to look at that. And of course, when you're down here anyways, also make sure that you like, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so that you don't miss anything. See you guys very soon again in the next one. Bye bye.